So, good afternoon, everyone. Andrei made a surprise. I was expecting a panel, so now I have to adapt. And I have some ideas that I wrote down from the report. And from our background that we had in the past, I think 7 years since we are helping startups and the tech ecosystem to grow. We had the Innovix BCR accelerator for 5 years, where we accelerated 180 startups. And there are some things that we saw in the past 7 years that are now showed in this report also. And I would start with the first one. The first one is that startups need to stop chasing investors and they need to start chasing customers. It's a pattern that we saw in the past years. I think in the report there's a dashboard where it shows that a large share of startups still operate in pilot or non-revenue mode. I think it's more than 60%. So what we advise is that you should go and find customers and bring a sales expert in the team, because most of the startups, we've seen 1,000 pitches in the past years, the pitches are becoming better and better. Actually, most of them are excellent at this in 2025. But what happens when you start working with them, and we work with startups as investors, but also as customers. What happens in the pitch, we don't see it in real life. So start chasing customers, because customers bring a very fast feedback. The second thing that we saw, and it's also in the report, is the focus on one or two industries. There's a dashboard, and when you will make public the report, there's a wide dispersion of sectors. Most of the startups said that they can help 5 or 10 industries. Please, just start with one. Start with one, become very good at it, and once you nailed it, you go to the second one. A third thing that we saw in the report is that they go for cool tech, AI, web tech, but there's a thing that they should care about. Look at an industry you care about and bring value to it. In the accelerator that we invested in the past 5 years, the average age of the founders was 38. The average age. So I would say the startups that brought the most value were the ones that have already worked in a company, worked in a sector where they found the flaws and the things that they could improve, and then they started the company. So just to make a conclusion, chase customers first, pick 1 or 2 industries to deep dive, and begin it in a domain you care about. So what we did in the past years, we started the first CVC. We have the first CVC in the banking industry, BCRC starter. We made the first investment, 500K in a Romanian startup. We are going to announce the second investment by the end of this year. So we are putting money on the market. Not as fast as a normal VC does, because we are a bank. We are working on improving this. And we are also a customer of several startups that we seen in the past 5 years. And another important thing that we do is that we enroll startups in George app. George is our main platform for banking, and we have, I think, more than 12 startups in the markets in the George store. So please come up to us with ideas, but take in mind the 3 things that I said. Have customers, focus on 1 or 2 industries, and pick an industry that you care about. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cătălin. So another thing that we saw in the report was a complaint, let's say, from the founders that they don't see that many programs inside of the university, most of the universities. If they're made poorly, and most of them don't really have them. So this is why I'm thrilled to invite our next guest, Ioana Ceaușu. Hello. Which is COO of Entrepreneurship Academy. Yeah, the first academy like for real entrepreneurs.
Hi. Hi and good evening. Thank you for still being here and up and with energy up. We believe in 3 things, and we focus our program at TA, the Entrepreneurship Academy, on those. It means we believe in teams, and that entrepreneurship is a team business, not a solo flying stuff. We believe that we need to fail fast and apply the lessons learned in our next attempts. And also that diversity always brings a lot of value into teams and the kind of value we bring to our clients in the startups that are founded within the academy. So we looked at the data gathered in this study, also from these 3 perspectives. And what I think it's interesting for our community and our ecosystem here in Romania is that the data also shows that co-founder teams are more performant than solo flyingpreneurs. And the data shows that teams of 2 or 3 founders have more revenue and profit, like 25% more, compared to 6% of solopreneurs. And I think this says really something that we really need to work together, find our co-founders, and have a good fit. What the data also shows is that women are poorly represented still in co-founder teams, and that brings us to just 35 of the startups that answered the study having a female co-founder. What we also saw is that when they have a female co-founder, they have better results in raising funds and having a good exit there. And I think culturally in Romania, at least, we don't have a good view on failing. Although the data also shows us that only 25% really make it with their first startup, but about 45% start having real good results after their second or third attempt. So I think a lesson to be learned here is that we need to get out there, fail fast, and then learn what we have to learn and improve how we come in front of investors and our clients. I think, Andrei, where are you? I'm very short. So I think these are the insights I want to leave with, and let's go fast to the questions.
Yeah, but we have 2 more guests. Until then, thank you so much, Ioana. Thank you. I won't hold you too much. I just want to invite the next speaker, which is a speaker that wears many hats. I've talked earlier about universities, so he's a professor in a university, he's also a founder, he's also the co-founder of an entrepreneurship program. So talking about all the hats implied in this survey over here. Daniel, please have the stage.
Hi, thank you, Andrei, for the intro. And first of all, I want to congratulate Launch for this initiative. I think it's very important to know where we are and what we need to build to better support the startup ecosystem in Romania. So just a few words about me. I'm here on behalf of Innovation Labs, which is the oldest startup program in Romania. We've been doing this since 2030. Supporting teams across Romania, going from idea to MVP, going in contact with companies, building the products, raising rounds, and so on. And yes, going back to the previous presentation, it's true, you need to chase customers. In the same time, if you do B2B long sales cycles, you do need VC funding, and I'll get to what is happening now in Romania in 2 slides. But long story short, I'm also the co-founder of Oxydos Automotive, and we just signed our second investment round today. So things are going well in Romania. Thanks. So some of the insights in this report. So first of all, we see a very good news is that more and more early stage startups are focusing more on product, on a product mindset, on building the product, building something useful for their clients. And the good news is that what we'll be doing in the next years at Innovation Labs, actually we've been doing this since the past 2 years. We have decided to switch completely to a product-driven educational program where we focus on helping teams go to the customers, doing customer discovery, prototyping, doing interviews, doing experiments, and so on. So if you have a startup and you want to know how to do this in an organized fashion based on a process, which is led by my colleagues Flavia Husar and Ana Maria, which both have a lot of experience in building actual products, come join us next year. So the second insight looks like a negative insight. It seems that 72% of the early stage startups in Romania do not have any type of funding. Now, quick question. Do you think that is high or low? Who thinks it's high? So there are too many who do not have funding? Well, what do you think is the global average for founded startups? For startups who have actual VC early stage, what type of funding? Average, global average. 5%. So we are at 28%. So I think we are doing pretty well. If you ask me, I think this is a good number. It means more startups from Romania are accessing financing than the global average. And actually, as a startup founder myself, I can tell you this is the best time to start a startup in Romania. If you wanted to start a startup like 10 years ago and you are looking for financing, very hard, very limited options. Now, we already have Early Game Ventures and Gapminder who just started their second fund. We have Tech Angels, Growchanu, Transylvanian Angel Networks, so you have several very strong angel networks as well. You have Seedblink, I saw them there, they have a little stage. So you have a lot of financing options, and there are a lot of money in the market. So if you want to go for financing, this is a very good time. And by the way, if you join the Innovation Labs program, at the end of the program, for the last 2 years, we had Early Game Ventures besides us. We have an investment prize, but actually not a prize, it's for future work. So if you join Innovation Labs, one of the best teams will be chosen by Early Game Ventures for a $500,000 investment prize at the end of the program. And one last thing about the pilots. The truth is, for B2B startups, Romania is a very tough place to be. Why? Because we don't have a lot of decision makers in large Romanian corporations, in Romanian companies. There are not a lot of decision makers, there are not a lot of discretionary budgets, very low research budgets. so it's very hard to get paid pilots. But the ecosystem is growing. At Innovation Labs, we managed to facilitate a lot of connections between startups and large companies. I'm not sure, Andrei, can I give examples? For example, we had several startups working with BRD, Societe Generale, with Orange, with Evident, with NXP, doing successful pilots, and then going on working together commercially. So again, there are still opportunities in Romania. So I believe that if you work hard, do your research, join programs, join events such as How to Web, and I'm very glad to see you here, you have a very good chance to start a very successful startup in Romania. So I will just say one more thing in Romania, spor la lucru.
Yes. So last year we've been, I believe, to 13 cities, making meetups, trying to surface founders that are not that well known, let's say. And we had some surprises. And in each of these cities, which are big cities, they're not small cities like Brașov, Craiova, Galați, we've been there and people were surprised about, you know, the normal type of meetups that are usually happening in Bucharest. There are some weeks where we have 10, 15 meetups in a single week. Like the beginning of September, October, everybody does events. But with all this said, there's one city in Romania, Oradea, which is head-to-head with the big cities. And I believe this is part of Make It IT Oradea, which is founded by David, our next speaker.
Thank you very much, Andrei. I'm not the founder of Make IT in Oradea. I'm just the first executive director. It's a founded organization by the local government, and it's way cooler. It's founded by the local government in a joint partnership with a couple of startups from Oradea, and it's a unique setup. Hopefully, we'll see more of that in other cities in Romania, because I think we are doing a kind of pretty good job there. So going back to the report, first of all, I just want to congratulate How to Web and everyone else involved in this report. Yesterday, I was moderating the Venture in CE event, where most of the investors in the region attended. And How to Web also has a report regarding the investments that are made in startups in all of the region. And we were talking with a couple of investors, and we kind of see that in 2025 and also in 2024, Romania in general didn't do very well when it came to attracting investments comparing to other countries in the region. But I was thinking, why are we looking at an ecosystem only by the KPI of the investment that they attract? And maybe even more paradoxically, we kind of, I don't know, rate an ecosystem based on what the investors are saying and not what the founders are saying, because the startup ecosystem is the startups ecosystem. So congrats on doing also this other side of the analysis of an ecosystem, which I think is more important and more valuable. Coming to my very short 3 insights that I want to emphasize from this entire report. First of all, as some of the previous speakers already said, it's interesting to see that a lot of startups are still relying on kind of individual type of sources to attract funding. Either friends or family, other I don't know, their own money, either I don't know, in 2025 there was like 56% that say they are bootstrapped, versus institutional sources, and I would put there also anything regarding the VCs. And this is, I think, because we are still a very young market. And most of the founders that come are super inexperienced and don't have mentors to show them the way. Who should they talk with and how should they talk with? We have this experience a lot of times with our program. And I think it's something that we need more, and we need to do a closer connection between founders that are already experienced in fundraising and those that aren't yet. The second insight I have is we are moving from a jack of all trades type of founders to more specialized founder, and this is a good thing. I don't know, 2-3 years ago, when you were asking founders like what's their profile or what they are doing in a startup, they would say, I'm doing everything. Okay, still, you have to do kind of everything, but at least now you have a profile that's aligned with what a VC would like to see in a startup. And thirdly, awareness for more value creator type of skills. I remember my first years in the ecosystem talking with startups, and everyone wanted 2 things, marketing and money. If they had marketing and money, they know to do the rest. Well, you need way more things than that. And especially when it comes to UX and UI, it's one of the skill sets that we have, because we talk a lot about product. Like Romania is great at outsourcing and we don't know how to build products. And the biggest part when it comes to building a product is UX and UI. And at least I'm happy to see that founders are more and more aware about that. Thank you so much. These were my insights, and I think we can go to the Q&A section. Andrei?
I was looking at the speech from last year's How to Web, 7 deadly sins. And one of the, in UX, she was talking about when you do a survey, what are the questions that you're trying to ask and try to find the answers to that you don't already know. So one of her questions was, how does this information produce money? What have you what have you found inside of the report that gives you an insight into actionable tasks, let's say them, that could actually bring money to someone? Either if it's in the VC world, banking, corporate, startups, education.
Okay. I can start with the perspective from an investor and a customer. What I saw in the report is that the level of maturity of startups is the good news. This is the good news for us. Things are, I mean, the evolution that David presented is amazing. I mean, in those 3 years, the percentages have changed a lot.
Yeah.
In a good way. So we see that they don't want to do anything, everything as a founder. They are looking for sales teams or sales guys in their team, and they are trying to build a product. Well, we are saying that for 5 years, and that's a good news.
Yeah, for sure. Does anyone else want to contribute, Daniel?
If I understood correctly,
Yes.
the task, Andrei, well, I know, as a joke or whatever, I think becoming a UX, UI something would definitely make me more money than what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we definitely see startups which are more mature at this point and more focused on the business side. So 10, 15 years ago, we would have seen mostly startups that have like just a technical idea and said, hey, I have this idea to implement this with this technology, and it's written in this language, and it does this and that and that. Zero mention of customers, zero mention of value proposition, no speeches with 0 figures about them. It was like they were afraid or ashamed to talk about money. Now it seems we have passed this phase, and startups, early stage startups, begin to understand that they also need to sell the product, they also need to make money out of it, and not just to have a nice deployment.
Yeah, okay.
I'll pitch in too. I think this is a nice evidence that we are maturing as an ecosystem, first of all. I mean, we came from 0 to almost hero now. And I think who can make money out of it is basically the funds, you know, and the investors, because I think it starts to become more and more interesting for them to speak to more mature founders who already know what they're talking about, they know what to ask for. And speaking to VCs also here and also in other contexts, they really do enjoy talking to founders who know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
And we're getting there, so congratulations, it's your...
Yeah, about this, we actually have a lot of open-ended questions inside of the survey. So this was a real hassle of trying to get statistical data out of open-ended questions. And it took some while to understand that people were basically saying the same thing, complaining about something, but also saying that it's good, it's a good thing. For example, the ecosystem is growing, some of the founders were saying, and some of them were saying, oh, but this isn't happening well, this could be better, and so on, which are both the same, they are different sides of the same coin, basically, because a growing ecosystem, an emergent ecosystem, would have the good and the bad as well. So it took a while for us, for example, to really figure out that they were talking about the same thing, but from the different aspects. And we try to cover that inside of the report, how we analyze the data and how we try to normalize all the answers. Before going to the next question, do you have one? Is there one from the audience? We have one over there and one over there.
So, hello everyone. My question is related to something that Cătălin said about their program.
One moment, sorry, can you say who you are and
Sure.
what? Yeah,
My name is Cosmin Sava. I manage Vreau să fiu antreprenor, program created by Romanian business leaders to help youngsters become entrepreneurs. And one thing that Cătălin mentioned about their program is the average age for the founders were 38. Because they have access to problems and flaws and they can see in the field. The youngsters I am talking with, which are maybe high school students or university students or recently graduates, are really afraid of becoming employees in order to get that domain expertise. And probably as they go up in age, their risk appetite decreases as well. So the question is, for this category of founders, what can we do in order to find the middle ground? So I don't have to be 38 in order to start something relevant, but also I'm not addressing a tar pit idea, something that has been tried over and over again by other tens of founders. That's the question. Thank you.
I'll try a short answer on this, because we also worked with very young founders. For example, we had an event for SMEs, and there was this young founder who had the AI solution, who was testing what type of entrepreneur you are. He didn't have any experience as an employee. He was a founder since he was 19, and I said, okay, take this shot. We tested him at an event, and then now we are working with him. I think it will be the third or the fourth event that we are working with. So if we see courage, if we see a product that is useful, and if we see that he learned about the pains and the problems that he can solve, we take it.
I'd like to add also something here, because it's something that we also train in our program at EA. And I think for young people, high school students and university students, like in your audience, what they need to do is get out there and talk to people, identify, be curious about the problems around them. And I think there are numerous startups that have started from a personal pain or something, or a frustration. So maybe looking into building contexts in which young people can exercise this curiosity and get over their maybe fear of talking to strangers.
There's also something about the equilibrium between the cost and the risk. So when you're young, you don't have that many costs and you don't have that many risks. So as earlier you can start with that, the more experience you'll have into taking risk, basically, and you'll be more comfortable with the entrepreneurial journey.
I just want to add two quick answers. One, building on Ioana's advice, process. You need a process. You need a process. You need a process to do customer discovery, to do UX-driven design. So if you apply a process with courage and going there, discussing with people, but following a process, that will help. A second, okay, that's one path to go and work for a big company, but you can also, especially when you're young, get internships in startups, in tech startups, in different types of startups. You can do volunteering in different types of organizations. So in between getting a corporate job, staying there 15 years, and then doing a startup, and just have an idea as a student, there are a lot of things in between that you can try out, through internships, volunteering, through going to conferences, and so on.
We had a question over there also.
Hello, so I'm Alex Crăciun. I'm representing Opportune, a platform that shares opportunities for young people, encouraging them, as you said, for volunteering and programs for young entrepreneurs or young employees. My question is, I've noticed from the people that we work with that it feels lonely sometimes to start this way of entrepreneurship. And especially in young people, they're usually starting it for the wrong reasons, I would say, for the money, for the clout, for what they see online. So what would be, based on your experience and your work with dozens of founders over the years, a way to address this issue, to create a more cooperative environment where they could grow together?
Okay, I'll go. Find communities. You have Launch Community,
Yeah.
which is exactly for this. You can find communities in Vreau să fiu Entrepreneur. You can find communities at the Entrepreneurship Academy, at Innovation Labs. Go where these people gather. And it's something that I've noticed also with our student entrepreneurs, is that unfortunately the ones that are right about now 18, 20 and have been in high school during the pandemic, it's kind of that muscle to socialize and to be together with other people wasn't exercised enough. And I think it's a fear of getting out there and putting yourself out there. And I think the only way to do that is to join such events as How to Web, go and talk to people. And for you, if you have this app, which congratulations, I think it's a wonderful idea, try to also build communities, but not only on the app, but meet, gather, go in the park, have a walk around Herăstrău Park, and talk about what you want to do.
I will add on what Ioana said, that we saw this problem and we came up with a solution. We have a Zbor project, which if you search zborhub.ro, you will see that we have 9 hubs around the country. And we started with smaller cities, and then we are coming to Bucharest. So we are in Târgu Jiu, in Constanța, in Vaslui. So we saw this, that Gen Z needs a place where they can feel safe and trusted. They don't have this kind of spaces. They don't have these communities where they can connect. And once they join the community, they see that the others have the same issues, the same problems as they have, and we actually help them build on trust. So we are going to further invest in these projects. We will probably reach 20 hubs by the end of next year.
We also have Builders Hub in Bucharest, powered also by BCR.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Andrei. We have Builders House in AFI Europe, in AFI Park 1, the office building. Yeah. So far, more than 2,000 youngsters have passed in 1 year. So.
The funny thing is that Alex was there, but I have to say that this is like not quite like a disease, but founders are lonely wolves. Of course, we are social animals at the base, but it's like a gambling habit that you know that does you harm, but you cannot stop from it. So it's the same dynamics, if you want. You need more people, but when you're working at your own startup, you're like, no, I have to focus here. Do you get me money? Do you get me clients? No, then shut up. I don't want to hear about you. Something like that, a little bit, because we've been into this type of activity of trying to build a community and actually saw how hard it is to unite this type of founders. Yeah. David, Daniel, if you want to add? No? We had one more question over here, and yeah, in the second row. And
yes, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Alex. I'm from Oradea. I do innovation at Cubis, where we are like 350 people. And let's say in my spare time, I put 2 products in the Romanian market. And I have one question. I'm really curious if it's a good question. So basically, I attended a few talks today, and the idea was that sales is very, very important, right? So I'm curious if you have seen, let's say in the past, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 years, if the startups from Romania have increased their sales to clients from Romania. Can you sell in Romania if you are a startup in Romania?
I'm from Oradea. I can talk with him anytime, so I will let you guys go for it.
Yeah, so it's not for you, David.
So what? The short answer is yes. So we have 12,000 SMEs as our customers. SMEs are with more than €1 million turnover. They have so many issues that you cannot imagine. So there's an enormous potential to come up with solutions for SMEs, because most of the startups, they are targeting multinational companies, big corporates. I want to help BCR, but they are not prepared to help us because we might be too big for them. But there are so many entrepreneurs with SMEs in Romania that have issues with ERPs, issues with their factories, with their employees. Go and just present your ideas to the SMEs, because you will have a lot of surprises. They want to invest. They are looking for this kind of solutions, and they don't want to pay a solution from Germany or from Netherlands. We spoke with founders of SMEs that they said, I saw a solution in Germany at an exhibition, and I found a startup in Romania who implemented it with a less investment that if I would have taken the German solution. So, yeah, go to SMEs because they have a lot of issues.
And I would build on what you're saying. I think it's a large market, and we're usually looking at as you said, the large companies to sell to them, because it's a bigger ticket, obviously. However, I think there's a lot of potential also in education, but also for products and services for these SMEs, as they are starting to mature right now, and also making the shift from the initial founders to the next generation. And I think that's an inflection point there. That's very interesting also to address, because they're starting to look at how to grow, how to reinvent their business that was maybe founded in the 90s or early 2000s. And nobody looks at them. Nobody talks to them, you know? And it might be a bit different. They might not know about all the new technologies, but I think there's real potential to actually make an impact, not only to that company, but also to the entire ecosystem around that company.
Unfortunately, I will disagree with my colleagues. So if you are building, I think it depends on the type of startup, but if you are building a B2C startup, Romania is a very small market. We are on the last place in Europe in terms of digitalization, last place in Europe in terms of buying power. So if you go B2C, you have zero chances of building a successful startup aiming on Romania. If you go B2B, well, if you look at all the successful big startups that came out of Romania in the past, I don't know, 20, 25 years, they all had most of their big clients outside of Romania. They all did most of their sales outside of Romania, and they all exited outside of Romania. So I would say you need to target a global market. If you target the Romanian market, you'll be limit yourself to a very narrow growth. Sorry, that's a economic.
Actually, I agree with you, Daniel. I mean, we should think about global markets and going regional, but there is also still here stuff to do. This is...
Yeah, and the question wasn't about not going global, but only about Romania.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much.